Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Call, and I am joined today by my brother, the Gritty Broman, behind the camera. How are you, Brent?
I'm well, thank you.
Cool. Right on. We had a great weekend. We were just at the Mountain Ops Elk Summit this weekend. Actually, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's Saturday today. Tomorrow, we're supposed to have a film dropping. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But the summit was really cool. It was myself. We had Randy Newberg, Corey Jacobson, Chad Mendez, Eric Chesser, Ryan Carter. We were all there and just sort of did some presentations on elk hunting. We each had an opportunity to, what do we do, like five little seminars up each with a small group of 10 to 15 different people on each class. And so there's a lot of one-on-one interaction. Anyway, it turned out really cool. In fact, Bryce Bishop was here yesterday from Peaks. And he had just made a trip from Ryan's Western Hunting Summit up there in Montana, came on down here, and he's like, Brian, these events are so cool. They're really cool.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun, a lot of cool people.
Yeah. You really get to meet some really neat people from all over the country, all walks of life, who really are wanting to learn hardcore about elk hunting and meet cool people and have cool discussions. So it was really fun. We really enjoyed the camaraderie and the brotherhood up there, and we got to talk about elk. And they got lots of different perspectives. I really enjoyed the way Mountain Ops did it because each individual that was presenting, their knowledge about elk hunting almost approaches it with quite a different approach.
They were all
very different styles.
Yep.
So everybody got a real taste of totally different opinions on how to hunt elk. It was really neat. But that kind of cut into our production time on the films. Because I just got back from Alaska a little over a week ago, and we have been working our butts off to try to get all of our bear footage and elk footage from last year all packaged and put together, because we're hoping to drop like 14 shows in 11 weeks. However, we didn't have time to get it ready. It's not ready for prime time, this week's video. And once we start dropping, we're not going to take a break. It's going to be consecutive Sunday after Sunday. We really didn't have time to market it or advertise it either. So we're gonna hold back on Sunday's film. However, we are going to release what we have completed, which is a rough draft, which I hate doing. I hate releasing anything that's not what I think is ready to release, but we are going to release partial part of it for the locals community, for all the Gritty Stealthy folks out on locals. If you're a financial supporter over there, you'll get about a 25 out of a 45-minute film. You'll get about the first 25 minutes. I just didn't want to put it out on the mainstream YouTube and leave people hanging at that point. You really, for this to be a full episode, I feel like it needs to go the full 40 or 45 minutes when people watch it. But you hardcore people out there on our Gritty Stealthy community, I figure you're cool with that. You don't care. So we're going to put it out there. It's just sort of what me and Brent have got together so far. We were going to drop it tomorrow. We just don't feel like it's ready. So, but for those that are supporters over there, if you want to become a supporter, it's pretty easy. Just go to gritty.locals.com, and for $70 a year, you have access to that kind of stuff and other films that I think we have like 5 or 6 films over there now that are just exclusive to that community, and podcasts that are exclusive to that community. So it's pretty cool. If you just want to peek in over there, you can. You don't have to pay a dime. You can just join at gritty.locals.com, but not as a financial contributor, and you'll be able to at least see what people are posting and what's going on. You probably have access to 80 or 90% of what's there, but that last little bit is reserved for those exclusive members. So, but there's still, I'd love to have people there that just want to poke in there and take a peek, but it's been really cool. That community has been taking off, and I really enjoy the engagement. And this week we noticed, we basically saw that Locals has now got their beta version of live streaming up.
Yep.
And I think it's right there rivaling like live streaming with YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. It looks really cool. I think we'll be able to leverage that here in a few weeks, couple weeks maybe, And the goal there is for Lampers and I to sit down and kind of just read through the comments, engage with people, answer questions, and just get together and live stream with the community a couple days a week and just knock things out. And for those who don't know, it takes a little time to pre-record, edit, and publish something. When you live stream, it's like it's immediate, it's done, and it's up. And plus it's live, so it's very fresh. So anyway, but I'm not brave enough to do live on YouTube. So someone will probably say something or do something, and then I get banned or I get a, what do they call it? A mark against your
strike.
A strike. 3 strikes and you're out.
Yes.
Joe Rogan was doing live streaming on his YouTube, and that didn't last very long.
No.
He's like, we can't live stream.
Yeah, they did one live stream.
I think they did a couple more, but it's too risky.
It's way too risky.
But on our Gritty Stealthy community, it's our community. We set the rules. We can say what we want. So join us over there if you want to, gritty.locals.com. So we're excited to drop the new film series. The new one's probably 4 or 5 episodes. It depends how long each one is, but it's hours and hours of bear hunting. And it's 2 separate hunts. We did one leg of the hunt in one state, another leg in another hunt in another state, and it's pretty cool. They're quite different terrain, but still very remote, both hunts. And the llama footage is cool with the grizzly bears and the interactions over there on itself. And then the other footage is just we come across a wolf and some big bears. So it's all neat. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Like I said, we probably got 8 to 10 weeks of bear footage. But if you're not into bear hunting, you still want to watch it. You know why? Because it's adventure. It's adventure.
In epic places.
In cool places. Yeah. So... And then we have our elk hunting footage, which is really cool stuff. And I've been simultaneously working on that. I actually presented a lot of that footage, or some of that footage, to the folks at the Elk Summit, the Mountain Ops Elk Summit, and got to get some feedback and share it. And it's cool hunt footage. And I think everyone's going to really enjoy the elk series, and we'll be dropping that maybe right around, I'm hoping we're dropping that right around the mid to late July. But it all depends on how we can fit it all in. But we're working really hard to create at least 10 to 15 episodes that are brand new, fresh, and they all have film permits, so suck it. And then what else have we got, Brent? I wanted to talk a little bit on this podcast. I figured you guys might be interested in some of the gear that we just recently used. And I mentioned this on our Gritty Stealthy Locals community page, but I don't think I really talked about it that much in detail on the main YouTube here. And I was able to use some gear on this Alaskan hunt and on the other hunts as well. But I had got to use the Kuiu clothing that I hadn't used before. And a number of things that I ran through and used, I really liked. And so I wanted to touch on that a little bit, plus a few other things that I came across that I enjoyed using that I don't recall talking about on here. If it's a repeat for some of you, it's a repeat. So I got some new Kuiu, and I went for the Super Down Ultra vest and the Super Down Ultra jacket. And then I added to that, what was it called? I'm terrible with these names. The Super Down Pro jacket. And I layered those 3, and I loved it. I used the Mountain Ops Merino, Battleground Merino hoodie that I wore pretty much on every hunt. I like merino next to skin, and I like having a hoodie. I like being able to pull the sleeves up, keep it down, and it's the right weight. It's the right weight kind of for if it's hot or if it's cold. I like that in between. And then if I do get a little chilled, I threw the down. What was it? The Super Down Ultra vest on, the Kuiu Super Down Ultra vest, and then I had another like I said, the Super Down Ultra jacket on top of that. And then if I was real cold, I just threw the 3rd layer on, which was the Super Down Pro jacket. Okay, I've used a lot of puffies. I've used a lot of Sitkas. I've used the Uncompahgre and some of the stuff from First Light. This Kuiu stuff is super, super lightweight, really comfortable, and it just compacts down to the size of a pop can. It's unreal. It just doesn't take up space, but yet has all the warmth, and it feels awesome. Mm-hmm. The only thing the only thing I could really say that I'd like to have different is it's a little louder. It is a little bit louder.
Yeah, I remember when we took it out. It was not broken in, fresh out.
Yeah, I've worn it quite a bit, so it's quieter than it was when I first got it.
It's still pretty loud though.
But it's just a little bit louder, and you can tell when you have microphones on and stuff because that's how we run. I wouldn't notice it quite so much if I didn't have a microphone. Mm-hmm. But you're basically getting some kind of technology that makes that thing tiny, lightweight. It's so light. It's crazy. It doesn't seem to weigh anything. I don't even know their heaviest jacket. Maybe the specs are right here, but on their website. And the weight is unreal. So the biggest, puffiest jacket is 12 ounces.
Really?
And I honestly, the fit and feel of Kuiu is the best. Mm-hmm. It really is. And when I was wearing the Ultra vest, and then I wore the Super Down Ultra jacket, it says it's the ideal mid-layer down hunting jacket when staying warm, insulated with water-resistant quicks down. It's your lightest down jacket. It's crazy light. This one is 6 ounces. 6 ounces.
That's nothing.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so you wear that one combined with the bigger one. I mean, you're covered. It's an amazing, it's really nice. And then you wear the vest underneath. But what I like about those puffies, and people tease me all the time, mock me for using so much puffy gear, but when you're backpacking, there's no the warmth to weight ratio of puffies is unreal. You just can't beat it. It weighs nothing, but yet provides maximal warmth. That's why I don't like to wear like hooded sweaters and sweatshirts and types, because they're dense, they're heavy, and they don't provide as much warmth for weight. It's impossible to compete with the puffy system. It's just weight to warmth ratio is unreal. Now, on this same hunt, I didn't have the Kuiu puffy pants. I could only get what I could get right now. I'll get more later. I want to try them. But in the meantime, I ran the Black Ovis puffy pants. Kendall sent me a pair. He's like, here, try these out. And they're only $150. They're not built the same, I'm sure. They're not sewn. They're like
pressed.
They're like the seams are pressed or heat sealed or something. So it keeps your down in the right places. But it's $150, and the other pants, I don't know what Kuiu's are. Sitka's are like $250, $300. Kuiu's look like they're $279, something like that. No, I was wrong. $250. So the Black Ovis version is $150. Now here's my thing with down pants. I don't hike in them. I don't really do much in them except sit in glass. Then I take them off, throw them in my bag. I zip them on, zip them off, zip them on, zip them off all day long as I'm going around. When I'm hiking, I'm hot, I'm too warm. But as soon as I stop, I throw the puffy pants on in certain temperatures. Again, weight to warmth ratio, it's impossible to compete with. To be as warm as I am with that, using traditional pants and long johns and things like that, they're heavy and bulky and not as versatile. Puffy pants go poop.
Yep.
Stuff into your sack, and then they weigh nothing, and then you pull them back out and you put them on, and you have maximal warmth to weight. So again, those Black Ovis pants, I did beat the hell out of them in Alaska, and I'm actually pretty happy with those. I'm sure they're not at the same level maybe as your Kuiu or your Sitka puffy pants, but I'll say this, I haven't tried the Kuiu out. I'm looking forward to it. The Sitka puffy pants, they lasted for about 2.5 years, and I beat the crap out of them. The exterior seems a little more durable than what Ryan is wearing. I've actually never used the Stone Glacier puffy pants, but I can tell just by weight and feel that the Sitka is more durable. And I would argue that in general, the Sitka clothing is more durable, period, across all the brands. It really is built tougher. However, they weigh a lot more and they don't go compact compared to these other options.
They're taking up their space.
Yeah. And so the Sitka, since I burned a hole in mine, being too close to the fire, you can really see what the internal material is. And there's like it looks like a cotton, like baffling, like what mom would put inside a quilt back in the day. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's some technical fiber in there, some kind of Primaloft type thing. And I'm sure it's supposed to handle weather really well, meaning even though it gets wet, it still provides warmth. Mm-hmm. But that's heavier and not as compact. Not the weight to strength, weight to warmth ratio isn't as high, and so you're getting a lot more weight to get the similar warmth. For me, I don't need my puffy pants to be synthetic. I don't need my puffy pants to have such a hard exterior layer. I don't need my puffy pants. I just want some solid down pants that are compact, slip right on. If I want to worry about weather, I'll slip my rain pants on over the top of them. That'll block the wind as well, but it'll also keep them from, getting wet or having problems. I'd rather go that way, that direction. So as much as I like my Sitka puffy pants and as heavy as as durable as they've been, I choose something else altogether. I would rather have the Black Ovis over the Sitka version any day. I think they might have updated their pant. I haven't checked in a little while. But right now, my opinion is this. I'm really stoked on the Kuiu stuff. Being strength, being weight to warmth ratio, unreal, super comfortable, awesome cuts. But they are not as durable. The Kuiu stuff is not as durable as some of the other products out there. But those other products, to get that durable layer, they're going up in weight. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the Kuiu I'm using, I beat the hell out of it, okay? It's still durable enough. Like, it's phenomenally, for how paper thin and lightweight it is, it's crazy. So I have one little tear in my which one is it? The Super Down Ultra has a little cut in it, and I just had to tape that shut. Super glue tape right there. And I imagine I'll probably have a few more patches on my Kuiu stuff as time goes on. I don't care. I'll just patch it because I'm finding it's performing better and feeling better and fitting better and being lighter and tiny. I stuffed that thing literally into those little mesh pockets on my initial Ascent pack, and I put all 3 jackets into the tiny little side. Boom. It's just they keep shrinking and get smaller and smaller, and they go in there. And then when I want to get them out, I pull them out. I couldn't even fit one puffy piece of Sitka in one of those pockets. Because it's made generally out of synthetic. It's bulkier. It's just bigger. It's got treated or synthetic materials inside of it. The exterior is just thicker. But I will say Sitka is built to last for years and years and years. Yeah. It's all what you're looking for. But for me,
those become like a family heirloom, dude. You can hand down those to your kids and their grandkids.
I still have some stuff I've had for like 8 years. But for right now, man, I'm really impressed with the Kuiu. People should check that out. They should also look at the Black Ovis puffy pants especially. I'm not sure about the Black Ovis jacket, because I wear that jacket and I beat the crap out of it, and I'll wear it to hunt in. Mm-hmm. I'll hike in a puffy a little bit, depending on temperatures and so on. I'll wear a vest or a lighter weight jacket, but I don't really do that in pants. So I don't really need pants that have performance-oriented kind of structure. I just need it to be lightweight and down, and I just throw them on and take them off. They just need to be serviceable, and it's a lot cheaper. It's like pushing half the price. So anyway, that's my take on some of that Kuiu. And then the Katana pants, I've been wearing those. I don't know if I'll wear another pant ever again. They're unreal, folks. Yeah. The Sitka, the Sitka pants, I like the Ascent pant, but it doesn't compare to how much I'm enjoying my Kuiu pants. A favorite of mine is still the Timberline pant. I need to test out Kuiu's upper weight version. I like it. I like it better. I like all of Kuiu and Sitka's options better than the Stone Glacier. In fairness, I haven't worn the Stone Glacier, but just a tiny bit to see what they feel like. But Stone Glacier doesn't have a mesh in their zipper. That's a deal breaker for me.
Really?
They unzip the leg and it opens your pant wide open and lets airflow in. But I want mesh. I don't want bugs crawling in. I don't want brush falling in. I don't want sticks and leaves falling into that gaping hole when I vent my pants. So I like Kuiu's design 100-fold. There's something about the fiber in the katana where some of the guys were telling me on our locals page, because I mentioned it over there, where it doesn't have spandex. Because I was saying how unreal they were. They get wet and they dry. Like, I've never had a pair of pants get wet and dry like this. And I sweat a lot too, but also you're getting rained on or what. It's like, who cares? It dries almost instantaneously. Well, from what some of the guys were describing was the spandex that they use to add 4-way stretch and so forth into a lot of hunting pants and just your Piranha Zion and stuff like that. It makes them feel very comfortable, but also makes them get really stretchy, and they also hold more water. And so when I wear a pair of Piranhas on a hunt, which I did last year all through a lot of my elk season, I love how they feel, but they're like 2 sizes bigger after 10 days of hunting.
Yeah.
The crotch starts, they just stretch out and they stay stretched. The katana maintained their fit the whole time. They were super comfortable. They get wet, they dry out almost instantaneously. They didn't stink and take on the same odor as all my other types of pants I've used. And the thing about, the guys were saying something about the weave and how the pants are woven allows them to have the stretch, but without the spandex. That's why they dry so quickly. I haven't even done any research, and I don't really know about that. So I don't really care, actually. What I care about is they work. And that's the bottom line. Like, I used them, beat the hell out of them. They don't have a single hole after just thrashing them for 6-7 weeks straight on gnarly hunts. They still look like newish. They're solid. Huh. So I can't say enough about that pant. I haven't even tried any of Kuiu's other pants. The Stone Glacier to me is a little bit too heavy of a material. They're probably like the Attack pant at Kuiu, which, again, I don't know that I'd wear. I need to try them. But I'm not so much into the thicker. I like thin pants, and then I'd rather wear knee-high socks and gaiters and other things from the knees down.
The more layers and more options to have.
That's how I run. I sweat. And I
produce my own body heat.
I like to be. I like to feel like I'm wearing a kilt. Really, from the waist to the knees. Mm-hmm. I like to have a freedom. If I'm cold, I'll throw on my puffies.
Okay, so what really you need is a tactical quilt or tactical kilt.
Hey,
with some pockets in it,
bro. If they had a kilt out there that was, that just felt manly, I guess, that just, I don't know. I'd
be hanging out in the winds on the mountain.
Because I definitely want the gaiters and the knee high kind of thing going on. Yeah. And the waist up, I want warmth, breeze. But I like that breeze, man. Mm-hmm. And with the katana, you can unzip the sides and whoosh, air, and they got the right weight to them. And like I said, when I got a sock or something up to the knee along with a gaiter, and a lot of times I'll wear my gaiter under my pant, so my pant goes over the gaiter. I do that often, especially if it's raining or whatever, and because I don't want to put on rain pants. Those katana get wet. I go through creeks, they get wet, and they dry right out. And I still have all that maximal airflow the whole time it's raining, but I'm dry from the knee down. My boots are bone dry. My feet are bone dry. Everything's dry with that setup. Mm-hmm. And I'm dry from the waist up. And I rarely don the rain pants unless I absolutely have to. I like being wet right in right in the middle there. Anyway, so that's just my brief experience there with the Kuiu stuff. Super stoked on it. Really impressed. And the Black Ovis. And we use the Seek Outside Silex Cuban fiber version and the Red Cliff a lot in Alaska. Mm-hmm. We wished we had the Silex with us on our earlier hunts when we were packing the Cimarron. And you'll see from the film series, what was it, a 39, 29?
Yeah, I believe Adam said it was they went and looked at it. It was a 39-degree
angle.
Yeah.
On these hills.
Yep.
Finding a place to put a teepee was a nightmare. Mm-hmm. Nightmare. Like every day was a struggle.
Yeah, there's lots of video of you guys just kicking holes in the hills.
We were excavating mountainsides to try to get something decent. So we were
like ledges with like 15, 20-foot drops.
Yeah.
That's your other option, is sleeping on a ledge.
Yeah, deer beds were the ticket.
I bet.
On that hillside, you could find a flat spot for one dude. So I wanted to try the Silex in Alaska and really put some use on it. And I brought it instead of my Cuban fiber tarp from Z-Packs. I brought the Silex with me instead. And we pitched it a lot, like every day, at least 2 to 3 times a day. You throw it up because the rain squall comes, and then it's clear skies again, and then the rain comes, and it's clear skies. And I was curious how it would hold up in the wind and all the things. And it did really well. We used our Peaks trekking poles to pitch it. Used MSR groundhog stakes to put it in to stake it to the ground. Was it better than my Z-Packs tarp? I think I did enjoy the fact that we could pitch it pretty quickly because of the shape and it's pre-designed. And then when it was hot or when we wanted to glass out of it, it has the zipperless front. And you just slide that sucker up and then pop the 2 stakes out of the front. And it pretty much opens up the whole thing. And then you can slide the zipperless in the back open and just air can flow through and you can glass. And it was pouring rain and we were just looking right out of it. When the rain picked up when the wind picked up and got really nasty, we had to drop it. It wouldn't, wanted to take flight. It never did, but you could tell
it was about to, yeah.
It was rough. But I don't know that any shelter other than like a Hilleberg, a freestanding shelter that's super heavy with hoops and, and is staked down will really handle that any different. And I don't want to pack that. It's just not worth it. So I do think that the Silex was the way to go. They weigh about the same as my Z-Packs, but the Z-Packs is a lot bigger, but it's harder to pitch because it's not pre-designed and suited for just sticking your trekking poles down and staking it down. I felt like if I just want to throw a tarp over us and we all want to crawl under it and we're not planning on pitching it for any period of time, I do like the Z-Packs better because it's 6 ounces. It's about as big as this table here.
Yeah.
And 4 guys can just crawl under it like a blanket.
And you've had that thing for a decade now.
Yep.
And you beat the crap out of it.
Yep. And you just get under there and you just wait for the rain to quit and you just wad it up and throw it back in your bag. The Silex doesn't quite have the same cubic inches of just flat space because it's pre-sewn to be like peaked and everything for your trekking poles and to go into the shape of a tent. So I don't know. I think I still find myself leaning toward the Silex from now on to just throw that Cuban fiber deal in my bag. And I rarely, where we hunt the mountains, and when you're up in the mountains, most of the time it rains for 30 minutes, max 40 minutes, and then it's gone, and then the sun comes back out. But the weather forecast means nothing. We get our forecast on our InReach every day. And it says, I don't even know what the hell half of it means. It says 10% chance of rain. And then it rains 6 times during the day for 20 minutes each time. It's like,
Mountain
or
weather
it
is
would
just-
say 0 chance of rain, by the way, and then it would rain 10 times. Like, when it really was going to rain for quite a few minutes, it was actually, get this, it was actually faster for us if we just wanted to tuck in and wait it out to pitch the red cliff. Like, it's a huge tent, but when you have flat spaces, it's rectangular. That red cliff goes up in seconds, minutes. Like, 4 corners go up, throw the pole in, get the rest of the corners. It's easier to pitch than the Cimarron. I'd argue it's faster to pitch than the Cimarron is, and it's much smaller. Which leads me into the red cliff. If I'm going on a hunt and it's me and another guy, I am bringing the red cliff 100% of the time if there's lots of areas to pitch it. I'm bringing that over the Cimarron. I'm declaring that right now. The red cliff over the Cimarron all day long.
Declared. Witnessed.
Declared. It's only a little bit more weight with so much more room. It handles the wind the same as far as I can tell. Like, it pitches tight and handles the wind, and you can stand up in it. We cram in there. We throw the 4 corners down, put the pole in the middle, climb inside, rain squall hits. We hang out. There's plenty of space. And then when we tuck in at night, there's room for gear, the fire, the stove, wood. Like, you're not crowded. The Cimarron, even with just two guys, is more crowded than the Red Cliff with 3 people. So at this point, I don't see the point in ever bringing the Red Cliff or the Cimarron if I have space for the Red Cliff, even if it's just 2 guys. I don't care about those extra 5 or 6 ounces or whatever it is between the 2 shelters. So that's where I'm at. But it needs some ground. It needs some real estate. And a lot of the hunts that we do end up on, not so much where I was hunting grizz in Alaska, but there are some mountain hunts, like I was saying, where finding a place to pitch a tent that big is really tough. And in that situation, I'm going Cimarron because it sucks trying to put a teepee on a non-flat surface. It really doesn't work very well. It has to be flat. And so if you can't find areas to pitch a Red Cliff every day, all the time, you got to go smaller. And if you can't get an area where the Cimarron can pitch, then you need to go to Silex. Now I have the Silex all with the stovepipe as well, and I have a little stove for the Silex, but it's in sil nylon, and it weighs about the same as the Cimarron, but is way smaller. Now I am surprised by how much space is in the Silex, but still. If it's not Cuban fiber, I don't want to haul the Silex. I just would rather bring the Cimarron. So again, if I have the real estate for the Cimarron and I'm solo, it weighs the same as the Silex in sil nylon. So I'm going to stick with the Cimarron if I have the real estate to pitch it. But if it's 39-degree angles and pitches and it's nasty and I'm doing deer beds, then I'm going to go and I need a hot tent. Then I'm going to go sil nylon. Silex is way the same as the Cimarron, but it won't be as roomy. I want Kevin Tim to give me the Silex with a stovepipe in it. Now, he hasn't done that in Cuban fiber. I need to clarify that.
I was confused.
I want him to give me the Silex in Cuban fiber with a stovepipe.
Okay.
Now, his concern is durability, how hot it will get, because you can get 6,000 degrees Kelvin or something like that.
It's really hot.
With that titanium stove, we've done that.
Depends on the fuel you got going.
The wood you have available.
Hot.
And as it goes up the pipe, you need space from the actual heat source to keep it from damaging the tent.
I feel like it would be easy.
And he's a little concerned about how small that space is. But I'm like, just give me a little bit smaller stove. But truthfully, he said he hadn't actually really tested it to the degree he feels comfortable.
To let you test it.
So I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to burn the tent down in an attempt to see what it can do. But I want to try that would be hard for me to leave at home if I could run the Cuban fiber Silex with a stove on a lot of hunts moving forward, because it's so light. So anyway, that's kind of my thing. And the U-turn stove, I like to go bigger with the stove in every setup. Mm-hmm. Because in every setup, you can let the fire burn down, and those coals, the bigger the stove, the bigger the coals. When I don't want to have the fire popping and running hot to keep the tent warm and have to be like constantly being fed and hot. I'd rather flame it up and then let the coals just burn out over 2 hours or 3 hours and have that be enough to keep the tent warm. I want the coals burning out to be enough to sustain the tent warm, rather than have to be popping flames and actually be churning quite a bit of wood. And it's negligible, the added weight for the bigger stove. And we have found that we really do enjoy the excess heat, because the heat does kind of go into the canopy of the teepee, and it doesn't actually, the bottom 2 feet sometimes don't get as warm, and you're laying down. Mm-hmm. So to get the heat, you kind of have to sit up, and it's all about ambient temperature outside, right? That impacts all of it. But we were talking about, my boot dryers. I wonder if you rigged a setup where you put those boot dryers, like Graxaw. Mm-hmm. I got them in my boots, but what if they hung in the canopy as well, and they just blew air downward?
You just need a little carabiner,
like a little string up on the top, and it's just I wonder, because it's crazy how much heat goes to the top. Mm-hmm. But if you had just a tiny little fan in there
circulating,
I'm very curious. You might need to stoke the stove far, far less, because you have to build up so much heat so it pushes the heat down.
It would disperse it.
But what if you had a fan up there and then the heat just got pushed all over? You could burn the stove half as hot and still maintain
save yourself on a
really comfortable level of temperature in the tent.
Have to have a battery, a little bit of electricity, but
dude, that boot dryer runs for eternity.
It runs on 1/4 of the power of your iPhone battery.
I don't even know what that means. All I know is that when you plug it into the dark energy charger that we run, it never uses even 1 bar, and I could use it for days and days and days and days.
It's basically whatever you run your phone at, whatever it takes to get to 25% of that. That's what the thing uses when it charges.
For how long, Brent? You're not making sense. So
I know Austin has had those fans on for days.
Yeah.
Off of what he uses, the same amount of electricity that charged his phone. He used that same amount of electricity. I don't know how he does it, because he's smarter than me. He's a smart man. I'm a redneck. And he said it ran for a couple days. He's not sure when it went, because he did Thursday, Friday. Then
you're boring me. All I know is this:
forever.
is it seems to not use any electricity at all. So I just plug it in with impunity. I don't worry about it at all, because it seems like it doesn't really affect my charger. So I'm like, I'll plug it in for 3 hours. I'll plug it in for 3 hours today, and 2 hours today, and another hour, because it doesn't seem to use any power.
It's little.
Yeah.
But it moves air.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's enough it seems like it's enough to push air through the canopy. So it'd be kind of nice to see, because I often tote it with me, but don't really need it to dry out the boots. I only need it to dry out boots on the days I need it to dry out boots. Might be on an 8-day hunt. I only need to use it 2 times for my boots. Well, I'm packing it with me. Mm-hmm. So what if anything I can get multiple uses out of, I like. So if I could put those things up in a canopy in a little mesh, whatever holds it down, and blows down, and all of a sudden we're burning half the wood we were before to achieve the temperature we want in there. It's like, hey, that's a great use of equipment, but I don't know. It's all fun, play around, we're spoiled today with modern gear.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think the only thing I want to bring up, I have been using 2 more things. The dark energy charger. I don't even know which one I've got right now, but I have some dark energy chargers, because a couple of the guys that were out on the hunts with me had off other brand chargers. And I got to tell you, I have some dark energy chargers that I've had for 6 years, 5 years, 6 years.
Like the first year we started doing gritty, I remember getting mine.
Which was 2015,
mm-hmm.
and it's 2021. And I have some from day one still. I don't like the Goal Zero ones crap out. The Anchors crap out. Bunch of them crap out. I'm impressed. And the newer one, I don't remember what it's called. I have the Poseidon, but they've updated it, and it's still just as impressive as it's ever been. It charges your phone hyper fast because it's got the right port for that with the new iPhones. So that's handy.
It's got a built-in light to it.
Which is, I don't know if I even care about that.
It's just an extra multiple purpose.
But it is nothing to add a light. And if you did need it, I guess it's there. But I have so many lights.
Light too.
But the dark energy charger, if you're looking for a charger for the backcountry and for your hunts, it's hard to beat the dark energy. It can take a beating, and it works really well.
It's dust-proof, shock-proof, waterproof for like a couple of, or water-resistant.
We want to work with dark energy. You know, we've been friends with them for years, but we should talk to them about a discount code and stuff for the community and for our audience. But
so it says 36 hours of power for your mobile phone.
Yeah, no, I mean it's been impressive. So
you can run your laptop. I could run my laptop off the new one because it's had the same ports.
I wonder how that would work, how long it would last.
It says 5 hours.
Really?
Can you really get that? Something we need to look into because
on an airplane, if I don't have a plug-in for it, I just have to turn my
I never thought of that, but it's
off.
the same, the new one, because I have an old one. I don't have a new one.
I wonder if it would work. It has the right port.
The new one's back at the house.
Because it's so annoying because I plug this into a lot of different battery chargers and it won't run this new Mac.
Yeah, it has to have a right kind of port. You know, but I think it might, and that's...
We don't know, folks. Let us know in the comments if you know.
But the new Poseidon, Brian, new one, the new model is the Poseidon Pro.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
Hard name
Poseidon
to remember.
Pro. But yeah, Ryan has the same chargers.
Its slogan is nearly immortal.
Yeah, like we actually have Ryan brings like 3 dark energies on hunts. Like we both pack quite a bit of power because we use our mapping system a lot on our phones. On X, we use a ton. He's using Gaia and other things, and you're using it for your inReach, and we're charging those a lot. And Ryan and I both, we're gone so much from our families at times. We really want to provide an opportunity for our wives and family to really contact us all day long. So we kind of leave that thing up and running more often than some maybe. And then, like I said, I run the boot dryer, but then I run in my camera gear. That's where I use a lot of electricity because I got to recharge microphones and wireless stuff and cameras and batteries and the Ronin and all that kind of stuff. So
the new Poseidon Pro's got this leather strap that goes with it for hanging it on stuff.
Yeah,
but the strap,
I think it might be lame.
It might be, but it would give you the option to hang your thing. But the strap has a strap inside of it or around it to put your cables on it too. So you have this leather thing.
Yeah, I always get rid of all that extra stuff.
I normally do too, but
it does have a connector. Like you can put some webbing in there and rig it. That's how I stick it on. I stick it below my boots on my tripod in the canopy. One more thing I'll throw out there. I did use the Thermarest X-Therm on the hunt, and I've been using the Neo Air, and then I use the Big Agnes Q Core. Ryan's been using the X-Therm for about a year. That's the bee's knees right there. It's the X-Therm. It fits your body. I got broad shoulders. I need a wider pad, but then it tapers toward the bottom. It's super warm. You don't feel any cold air through it. It's insulated. It's thicker and more durable on the bottom, which helps it from getting holes in it. The Neo Air is just so thin. I've dealt with holes.
Every season I've known you've had
every hunt.
Swear.
Even with the Q Core, it's got a hole in it too. I'm like, freaking A, man. Now, Ryan will say it's because of my air pad, but the holes are on the top. The holes they're finding are on the top, not underneath.
So how much of that is from fire?
It's my earlier holes were from fire, but I don't let the titanium, the seek outside stove point toward my pad anymore.
Yeah.
It's not flame. It's not coals popping out. Sometimes I think you got burrs and stuff in your pants, and you blow up your pad, and I'll sit on the pad, and then that burr in my pant will pop a hole in the pad. So now I don't sit on my pad, when I crawl into the teepee, unless I have my sleeping bag, on the pad itself too. So I sit on my bag. It gives that little buffer just in case I have like a stick or a thorn or something sharp sticking out of something off my pants from just sitting on the ground a lot and picking up a little sharp thing. So, that's the pad right now. And I've used 3 different ones now. I was really impressed with that. I slept really good. I really liked that. And then the mosquito deal from Thermacell. That's something you guys that are in bug country, like we were in Alaska, and just before we left, I used the Thermacell, and I mentioned this before when I was in British Columbia hunting bears. We were in a tree stand hunting black bears with our bows in meadows, and the mosquitoes were just out of control. It didn't matter where you went. The mosquitoes were just everywhere in BC.
Clouds of them.
Flying in your mouth and your nose and sucking your blood.
It's bad.
And I got the little Thermacell with me, and we weren't backpacked in or anything. And it's got the little butane thing, and you slide the card in, and it emits the mosquito repellent. Well,
citronella oil or something.
I don't know exactly what's in it, but it worked like a charm. Literally made a force field around us in a tree stand. Even with the wind, it just kept the mosquitoes way down. And even when they come into your sphere and they land on you, it's like they're drunk and they just sort of fall off and they bounce around, but they don't suck your blood.
Weird.
Problem is packing that in, and the butane canisters run like 8 hours and they run out, and they're kind of heavy, those little, like, whatever they are. But we were at the store there looking for bug nets and bug dope, and we came across Thermacell has a little adapter, and I mentioned this on Locals. Thermacell has a little adapter that goes onto your butane cook stove. Mm-hmm. And I think, what was that? Did I say 1,800 hours? It'll run.
It's ridiculously.
It'll run the Thermacell.
It's called the backpacker
stuff. Yeah, the backpacker, Thermacell backpacker. It'll run it for 1,800 hours. I don't remember. It's something stupid. So basically, you don't have to bring that contraption and the canisters and all of that anymore.
You have your butane canister.
You have your butane can.
And you just screw it on like you would your stove.
And those little cards that you use run about 8 hours.
They're like cotton and paper. They weigh nothing.
So you bring like 20 of those or
ounces.
10 of those on a trip. Mm-hmm. Well, they'll run 8 hours. So at night, I was debating, do I bring a no, like there's different ways you can handle mosquitoes in a floorless shelter. When you're in Alaska, let's say, one of the ways is you actually bring a nest, okay? And the nest zips in, and you're actually in basically like a 2-wall shelter. It becomes a floored shelter. It becomes like your standard REI, MSR Hubba type shelter. But it also makes the teepee or the Silex or whatever weigh twice as much. And you're stuck in this double-walled zipper thing, and it condenses the size so you can fit one person in there, really. It's not a 2-person tent anymore with the Silex, or it's just too crowded because of the way the mesh takes up all that inner space. So I ran it, I tested it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like this, man. So Lampers has been the same way. So we've run the shelter where we like stack rocks around the base and we try to seal it up. And so very little, we stake it tight to the ground so mosquitoes don't really fly in. But you always get some, and you're always dealing with a little bit. In Alaska, a lot of the guys, when they're sleeping outside on the ground, or if they are throwing up a teepee, but there's no way to seal it, there's no nest, they throw gloves on their hands, and they have a long sleeve, or they're inside their sleeping bag and they wear a head net. So all night they're sleeping with a head net on, which is doable, you know, and those mosquitoes are, they're loud, dude. But you just sleep anyway, and they land on your head net, but can't really get to you. It still sucks. Mm-hmm. It's kind of annoying. So with this Thermacell deal, dude, we just climbed into the teepee, turned that sucker on, and it filled the teepee up with, you know, it was like this stuff's emitting or whatever. Mm-hmm. No mosquitoes all night. 8 hours of rest without anything. No nest to pack. And this little backpacker adapter is tiny.
It's tiny. It weighs only a couple ounces. It's only
it's
like
nothing.
4 or 5 ounces or something.
And there's your mosquito problem. Done. Solved. Over. Gone. And it uses almost no gas. So you can just sort of use whatever you're cooking your food with. You just use the same thing. And it's dual purpose again. And it's a hell of a lot lighter than packing a nest with you. Hell of a lot lighter. The other thing, though, that people may not know, if you didn't have that, and some nights we didn't even bother with the Thermacell because your temperature range where the mosquitoes come at you are in a certain range, right? When you turn on the stove, all the mosquitoes just drop.
Yep.
They just die. Hot. It's too hot. You turn on the stove, the whole tent is full of mosquitoes. You go light the stove, mosquitoes hit the ground. They die.
Yep. They can't naturally handle that.
They can't handle any heat at all. That temperature goes up, they all die, hit the ground, it's over. And your tent's totally free of bugs. Free of mosquitoes and other bugs. They vacate. They leave the premises. And then when the heat gets a little bit, when you want to, you let it burn out. What would happen is our fire would burn out and the mosquitoes would come in later in the night. So your fire might cool down after 5 or 6 hours, and then the mosquitoes start coming in. And unless you keep the fire stoked, then they start getting at you. So you can put your head net on, burn for a little bit, head net, go to sleep. There's different ways to do it.
That'll work.
But what I really liked was not running it that way at all. I preferred. I really enjoyed being able to run the Thermacell and just short sleeves. If it's hot, I didn't bother wearing anything hot on my head. I didn't put the bug net on me. I'm sleeping outside my sleeping bag. And didn't have to worry about getting bit by mosquitoes because we were running the Thermacell. But it's funny because sometimes in that Thermacell, we'd run it for 3 or 4 hours in the day, even when we're glassing, just poof, turn it on inside the Silex while we're glassing out the front of it, and just mosquitoes go away. So that was kind of nice just to sit around and have it be around us while we're glassing. I don't think it's as effective as the other Thermacell is in creating a force field when you're outside. It's not quite as good.
It's not as big. It's not even nearly as big, but still.
I don't know why. I don't know why it seems to work a little differently.
You're not really looking to use it outside per se. You're really just at night in your tent.
And maybe it was just the particular mosquitoes and environment that I was in.
Yeah. You could have mosquitoes
versus
that were just
MDC
too strong.
or whatever. But it still makes a big difference, but we burn it down halfway and then we go to bed and it burns out halfway. Like, you want to put a fresh card in it as you're going to sleep if you're planning to sleep 6-8 hours. But I was really happy with it. And it's just a tiny little adapter. Look it up. Thermacell Backpacker. Yeah. Backpacker?
Mm-hmm. Thermacell Backpacker. I think it's called The Backpacker by Thermacell. But if you type in Thermacell Backpacker, it'll pop up. That's what I did.
So that's it, man. We just want to touch on some of the gear stuff. I know we mentioned this out there to the gritty, stealthy community, but figured we'd drop this on YouTube as well. You know, if you want to check out the gear that we use and you want to support our show, we have links below on the YouTube channel to the different partners that we're working with. And if you use the code, you always get a discount, and it helps our show. And that includes stuff like Seek Outside, that's peaks for gators and poles. You can do the same with Mountain Ops for the supplements we're using, and Stealthy Nutrition. Use the code GRITTY over there.
E-Scouting, Masterclass with Mark Livesey.
Which everyone should take that if you haven't done that already. Sheep Feet, Custom Orthotics, like, it's all there. So go check out those links and save yourself, get yourself a little discount, support our show. We really appreciate it. And if you really want to jump up, you really want to get more access to what we're doing, join us over there at the Gritty Stealthy Community.
Yep.
Over at
gritty.locals.com.
Yep. And if you do the annual subscription for $70, that's great. We love that, and you get a month for free. Or you can just do $7 and try it for a month and see what you think. $7 a month. Also, though, what's cool is Sunday, we're going to drop, like I said, about 20, 25 minutes of the first episode of the Bear series. It's a rough draft for those of you who want to get on it early. So, it's not quite what I want it to be, but you're still going to enjoy it. It's going to be a longer cut. The new version will be, like Ryan says, longer is better. And I'm like, no, it's not, Ryan. I'm going to slice and dice it.
Yep.
We're cherry pick it. But, this first edition, this rough draft, let us know for those that check it out. Let us know what you guys think of the teaser and the music and kind of the overall flow. We use different equipment and the hunt's just a different place. And I don't know. I like feedback. I love feedback on the films, and not just, oh, it was awesome, great. Like, I need a little bit of, if you think it's awesome, great. But if there's anything that you particularly want to see more of, you're like, oh, I really like that. Do more of that, or less of this, or whatever. That's really cool. We appreciate that. So anyway, that's it for today. Look for the film on Locals tomorrow, and then for the rest of y'all, look for the film next Sunday and every Sunday after that until September. Thanks for tuning in. Stay gritty.